And we are now recording a session. So we're recording it so everyone else can see. A few points of order, please. Can everyone mute and turn off their cameras? Please feel free to ask questions in the chat as we go, and I'll catch them either on the way or at the end of the session. So if you don't know where the chat is, it's down the bottom bar, but I suspect people here have used Zoom before. So only remains for me to say, I hope you really enjoy the session. I'm going to hand over to Keith, and over to you, Keith.
Thank you very much, Neil. Welcome everybody. I'm Keith from Compass Video. We're here today to discuss about making videos using your mobile phone and the possibilities of it. And this is an introduction to the training that I deliver as a full day's training. The main difference between the introduction and the full day's training is there is very limited hands-on element of actually going out making the videos and editing them, because we don't have time in the time we have at the moment, but we will get through a lot of important points, and we should have a bit of fun doing it as well. So I'm going to share my screen now. If for some reason you can't see it, do let me know in chat. I've also got to faff about with Zoom for a few seconds to make sure that I don't miss anyone still trying to come in while we're going. There we go. All right, and then I'll also later on, I'll be showing my mobile phones that I have waiting on my desk down here, and a few toys that I have just there to sort of go through things. So welcome to this Festival of the Future training session. Hope you enjoy it, and we'll make a start. So what are we going to do? And straight away, somehow my slideshow has paused again. There we go, so resuming. What we're going to do, so we're going to talk about what types of videos we can consider and the importance of video. The importance of video and how it can affect your Google rankings in terms of business and what you can do with it. Then these certain algorithms Google have, and how rich content, which is content if you add video to it, can help. What types of kits are available. I'm going to talk a few technical bits and some top tips, some examples, and then chat a bit about open source software and what is available to help you. So just admitting a few more people that are waiting. There we go. So we'll just make a start. So for fun, I like to show this image. Boom. This just shows how far you can go with making videos with a mobile phone. This is something where they've plugged in a lot of bits and bobs, and I always turn around and say, if you can afford half of that stuff that's on there, you can afford a camera. But it's all fun, just showing how much you can plug into a mobile phone these days. So to start, first thing people should really get to grips with is understanding their Google presence. If you're making videos for your business or as an individual, so you should take this time, if you're going to start making lots of videos, to just do a quick audit of your Google channels. An example of this is, I always like to ask this question, if anyone wants to, we do a quick survey in the chat. If we turn the, hold on, I'll just get my chat up. If everyone gets the chat window up, and then let's, there we go, got mine up again. Let's just do a quick survey. Everyone to quickly type in, what do you think is the #1 search engine? Quite self-explanatory there, but let's do it anyway for fun. There we go, Google, 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 Google. Yeah, correct. There we go. Everyone's got Googling. But what is the second biggest search engine? Yeah, common thing, being Firefox isn't a search engine, it's a browser, but very good. Duck, as in DuckDuckGo? No, DuckDuckGo very much isn't. A couple of you have got it right. Yes, YouTube is the internet's second biggest search engine. If you're going to have a presence online, you should at least have one video on YouTube linked to your website, because otherwise you're missing out on the two biggest search engines, Google and then YouTube. So it's what a lot of people don't realize is YouTube is a search engine in its own right. It comes up as listing on Bing, on Google, on Yahoo, whoever still uses that, but some people do. DuckDuckGo, that will find YouTube videos. So you want to be on YouTube. It's just as important as being on Google, and making videos using your smartphone is a way to do that. And just for giggles, the third, some people can argue, is in fact Google Maps, because everyone on their phones uses Google Maps to find things locally. So having a Google presence on Google My Business and putting your YouTube stuff on that is really important as well. But that's a debatable, argumentable term that some people disagree with, which is not for this talk. So we'll move on. Okay, so next page. What is Google Eat and Google YMYL? Well, the algorithms that were released last October, I think it was. Or was it August? Might have been October. Essentially, EAT stands for expertise, authoritativeness, trustworthiness. YMYL stands for your money, your life. Both of these algorithms are equally important. The expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness of your website is you making sure that you're only posting regular content that's relevant to yourself as an individual or business. And you are seen as an authoritative person within your field. That can be backed up through people sharing your videos, for example, or your content and your trustworthiness, your reviews. They've done that because of things like clickbait. It's just to make people making search engine searches more relevant. So I don't know if people have paid attention or noticed, but searching on search engines, be it Bing, be it Google, or YouTube, they're a lot better than they used to be. You get less rubbish when you search now. You still get that, obviously, it's unavoidable, but these algorithms did help. So sites like the Daily Mail, for example, that are mainly clickbait, have tanked because of this. You notice if you search in news now, you don't get the Sun and the Mirror as highly ranked as before, and you might suddenly see local Dorset Echo pages appearing up the top higher. And that's because of these things. Your money, your life is relevant to any individual here that deals with happiness, health, or wealth of people. So if you're going to blog about mental health, if you're going to chat about how to make money, or if you're going to just generally say, we're going to give you a euphoric feeling by reading my blog, if you don't have any qualifications or expertise, authoritativeness, or trustworthiness in those fields, you'll tank, because it's the websites, it's the internet taking responsibility for the health of its users, basically. So a good example would be something like Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop. They like to make outrageous claims of their stuff, or I don't know, if you're a masseuse claiming my massages will cure cancer, you're going to tank, because you don't have the evidence to back that up, and that's what YMYL is. Or if you're someone who's claiming that you can give the winners of the Grand National, you're not going to rank very highly. So it's that kind of thing in a nutshell. So it's just that the video can help you with these, because it gives you expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness through your embedding your video to make it rich content that then can be shared around the internet to different places, that then comes back to you, and Google says, oh yes, you must be someone who's telling the truth. So that's something to be aware of. Let's think of what types of videos we can make. So videos that you can make using your phone, and these are all achievable, because that's what we always say when we deliver our training, is as long as you're working within the confines of what is achievable with a mobile phone, and you manage your expectations that you don't think you're going to make the next Hollywood film, there is a lot you can do. So introduction, welcome videos. So welcome to, say you're hosting an event. That's I don't know if anyone's used the Hop Into platform yet, which is taking off in online virtual business events. Having a welcome video, welcoming people into the event, for example, can be quite useful, or just a welcome video onto your website saying, hi, thanks for visiting. or your YouTube channel. Hi, thanks for visiting, subscribe by clicking the subscribe button, etc., etc. They're very good. Offers or promotions, so Twitter, Instagram, if you just want, or even LinkedIn, if you wanted to say, Facebook, if you wanted to say, I've got an offer for the next 50 subscribers, likers, etc., etc. I will give you 5% off or something like that. It's quite a good way of getting it out there. How to explain a video is what YouTube was made for. How do I do this? How can I fix that? How does that work? How can I bake this? We'll let someone else in, sorry. FAQs, frequently asked questions. So one way a business can save time and money and have a quantifiable return on their investment is if you use your analytics to work out how your users are coming to your website and then either emailing you or phoning you, and you can save time on the responses to those emails or phone calls by creating frequently asked questions videos to answer your most common questions, and then that should lessen the amount of time you're contacted, and then thus improving your amount of work hours. So that's always a good one. Testimonials, customer referencing. So you see your customer and they say, "You're great," and you say, "Would you mind me videoing that?" You get a nice little testimonial. Or if you're on YouTube and someone says, "Oh, I saw your YouTube live thing," or "I like your channel, it's wonderful," you can say, "Do you mind recording that and sending it to me?" And then you can edit it and tweak it and make it into a little testimonial for yourself. Keep in touch is just a way of embedding maybe your YouTube video into MailChimp and saying, "Hi, just updating you with some bits and bobs. It would be nice for you to contact me," or "I've got an offer for you personally," etc. Tour of facilities, that's a good one for schools, universities, colleges. You can do a little tour to put on the website so people can see what's going on, or if you're a club or a group or a campsite park, there's also all sorts of tours that can be useful. B&Bs, that's a good one. Do a tour of your B&B. Newsletters, that's similar to Keep in Touch, so you can add a video to your newsletter. Don't know why I've got newsletters twice, just noticed that, my bad. And then recommendations. So recommendations, you can give a testimonial to somebody else, but because you're doing it yourself as part of your channel, you keep all the hits for it. Typical recommendation type videos would be social influencers. They get told to, they say, "Here, have some makeup," you use it and say how good it is. Yeah, they're quite powerful as well, and you can do all those using your mobile phone. Let's move on. So this is an example of a tour video. I don't know if anyone knows of the Royal High School Bath. So it's teaching some of the students there to make a tour, and it's now on their website, so you can tour around the Royal High School Bath by one of the students called Claire, and she says these are the bits of the schools that you could come to, and hope to see you in September with the new students coming to the school. So there, and then this is the fun, debatable bit. Does anyone know about vertical storytelling at all? I take that by not many yeses in the chat, as in no. So vertical storytelling is a concept that is sort of coming a bit bigger and more mainstream now. Instagram, Snapchat in particular have videos that are adapted to be in the portrait visual. So if you're looking at me on a laptop instead of a phone, chances are you're in a landscape, so you'd have to turn it on its side to be in portrait. Now, landscape viewing is only because the most millennials and above, the most way we watched video was television and cinema. So it started off square, then it went to rectangle, because we watched telly and we watched cinema, and then When phones came along, we'd turn our phones on their sides to watch videos. So if you imagine younger generations of today, their primary device they're looking at is a mobile phone. So to them, having it in portrait is normal, not in landscape, because that's what they spend most of the time looking at. So vertical storytelling is making a video adapted for that. So it's still the same, it's just making sure it's vertical and you add loads of graphics and images on it. And that's more of an Instagram and Snapchat thing. Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, still very much landscape is best. But it's one of those questions that you can debate and argue about. But these are all the platforms that you can make videos for and deliver to. And there's a few slight changes that people need to be aware of. It's very, as someone's just said, Google are promoting web stories now. Yes, correct. When changing a green screen background, does it have to be green material? We'll do that. We'll answer those later. So the old-fashioned mentality is let's put our video on YouTube and then I'll link it to all of these, which that hasn't worked, been the way to do it for quite a while now, but I still see people doing that. You need to upload directly to each of the individual social media channels, and there's slight differences, like Twitter only gives you a 2-minute and 20-second limit, but obviously you want to keep it under 2 minutes generally, because that's the attention span of people. Sometimes 30 seconds can be best, and if you want the user who's looking at your apps, not looking at your apps, looking at your content to see it and have the most chance of it being engaged with, that you need to upload it directly to the channels, because LinkedIn, for example, when you scroll through your news feed, when you see videos automatically playing, they're only automatically playing if they've been uploaded to LinkedIn directly, same as Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube. If you link to something else as it scrolls through, what you'll see is a link instead, and statistically less likely for people to click on that link and then look at your video. So you always want to upload directly to the social media channels. The downside to that is to get your analytics, you have to go to all the channels and add it all together, which is a bit irritating, but that's the way it is now. So it's just be aware of that when you're doing it. So top 5 tips. This one's always fun. So let's go through top 5 tips now. Post everyone in chat, think of one thing, type it in, and it's the top 5 tips of what we're going to do before we start filming with our mobile phones. And this is iPhone or Android, it doesn't matter which. Top 5 tips. So someone said check lighting, for example. That's a step ahead, not quite, but yes, this is the sort of thing. So everyone post one thing, think of something and then post it, and so we'll see how many people get close, and then we'll go through the top 5 tips. So someone said check your battery. That's good. Yes. Background noise, tripod, composition, audio, permission to film. These are all thinking outside the box, but getting a bit ahead of ourselves. Yes. What is your objective? What's look in the background? Very good, very good. So we'll go back to, let's just find out who said it quickly. Check your battery. Catherine said check your battery, which was very good. So if you imagine we've got our mobile phone out, and we've got someone important that we want to film saying something nice about us, or our YouTube channel, our business, our products, doesn't matter what, and you get your phone ready and they've not got long to hang around. You turn on your video camera, you go to video them, and boom, your battery dies, and they say, sorry, I've got to go. So yes, if you think you're going to make a video, check your battery, because batteries are going to be eaten quite quickly with video, because video does take a lot of battery. So one thing that's useful is to have an external battery pack that you can have with you if you know you're going to do lots of video. That way, if your battery is running low, you can just plug it in. The only thing there is remember to charge that as well, because there's nothing more annoying than having both of them flat. Yeah, battery, so we're there. Everyone's saying landscape now. Yes, because I kind of gave the game away in the last one, talking about vertical storytelling. Yes, excuse me. Turn your phone on its side. So it's in landscape mode, not portrait mode. That is an important one as well. Then it avoids getting the black bars on either side on some of the channels. We're missing a few more. I'm just checking if anyone's said any. So someone said don't cover the lens. That's in the ballpark. So I don't know if everyone can see me in the tiny little windows rather than my screen. Oh, I know. I'll just stop sharing for a second. Hold on. There we go. I'm back. What we have is on our phones, you have two cameras. You have one on the front, which is generally used for videoing video chat. So if you're doing FaceTime or WhatsApp talking, people tend to use that one. And then you have one on the back, which people use for photographs. Now, when you, don't know if people saw the adverts for the iPhone 10 when they tried saying the iPhone 10 is as good as a digital SLR, which is debatable, but they like to claim it. People would then when they got the iPhone 10, take lots of selfies and then complain that the pictures weren't as good as advertised. And that's because they're using the camera on the front. And it's surprising a lot of people don't realize that there are two different cameras on a phone. And if you can see your face in your phone, you are using the wrong camera. Should be using the camera on the back. That is the one that the manufacturers have spent all the time, technology and research, making sure they can get the best quality they can out of their phones. So don't use the one on the front. And the trick there is just practice, basically, because obviously if you're looking at yourself, if you're looking at the lens and filming yourself like that, you can't see where you are positioned in the video. And that's just trial and error. You'll eventually get the knack to it, where to position your phone so you can video yourself correctly with the right camera. Another trick is just stick a mirror on the back of your phone. That helps as well. So that's another one. So it's batteries charged, landscape mode, use the correct camera. Now, another one is, there's 2 points for iPhones, 1 point for Android phones, and that is space. You need to make sure that, just like battery, if you've got your important person there, you've turned your phone on its side, it's fully charged, and you're using the correct camera, you then press record, and there's no space on your phone to store the video, because video takes up a lot of space. So you need to make sure all those selfies are deleted so that you can have space to record your videos. So yeah, space, make sure you've got enough of that. And the reason I said Apple 2 points under space is video does take up a lot of space, and you probably will want to turn your iCloud syncing off for cellular data. You'll want it to be on Wi-Fi only if you're starting to do a lot of video, because unless you've got an unlimited contract, video takes up a lot of space, which means you're uploading a lot of data and you'll chew through your mobile phone contract in no time. So you might want to look into that. It just depends on what type of contract you've got. So that's worth considering. And then, so we've got turn your phone on its side, space, battery, use the correct camera. And then the final one is, you imagine you've turned your phone on its side, got the camera set up correctly, you've made sure you cleared your selfies off, you've made sure you've got it fully charged, and now we press record, the person starts speaking, and then your mum rings you, and you go, and that's your video ruined. So what I say is, switch on airplane mode, make sure there are no distractions on your phone when you're doing it, and that way we have the best chance of making a nice video without being interrupted. Moving on from the top 5 tips, and that's the reason I've got this here, actually, the reason I put this image up. This guy's a reporter on the BBC News, and the BBC cameramen are not BBC cameramen, sorry, BBC reporters are trained to do smartphone filmmaking because they are sometimes around when a story breaks and they don't conveniently have a cameraman with them. So they will accept smartphone reports as long as they're professionally made and then uploaded to the newsroom as a breaking news story. And the BBC spend a lot of money on this, and the reporters clearly don't listen to a word that they are taught, because this guy is holding his tripod rather than putting the camera down on it. He's using the front camera instead of the back camera. The phone is in portrait mode. It's just a disaster. And it's even to the point of he's got a lens that's mounted on the camera on his iPhone to try and make it look a bit better. And he's not even using it. And it's just, you know, it's incredible. So yeah, I paused my telly and took a photo of that when I saw it, because it did make me giggle. It's like training well spent there. Anyway, move on. So when we talk about getting it right, so composition is always interesting, and I'll just give you this as an addition, even though this is about video. There's a couple of apps that can be useful for photography if you're taking photos. But yeah, so not me that's done this study, but the study is basically they put this set of glasses over people's faces, and it can track pupils. And there's tens of thousands images shown, and essentially what they uncovered in this study is that people tend to look here and here on an image. If you imagine, sorry, that there's a rectangle around this, which is a rule of thirds cross, which we'll talk about in a minute. You draw like a, what's it called, a noughts and crosses board over the image. The two hot spots are here and here, where people mostly look first. So if you're taking a photograph or a video that you want to put on social media, the thing that you are filming or taking a photo of, be it a product, be it a person, be it a building, you want to try and put the main thing or a bit of text that you want them to see in these two spots, because statistically they will see that first. So that helps with composition when you're doing product or photography for selling something. You'll probably notice that now if you go through a McDonald's drive-through, their burgers tend to be in this side, not that side. And then the rule of thirds is, again, noughts and crosses. Put that over the top of your rectangle, and imagine there's threes and three blocks. And if you try to line up and frame what's in your image using the rule of thirds, sorry, I'm just omitting another person. Using the rule of thirds, it will make your images look visually more appealing. Yeah, so you can turn this on. It's normally called a grid. You can turn this on or off on most mobile phones, and it will help you make your images or videos look prettier. When it comes to photography apps, if anyone knows the photography manipulation tools, and they paid for them for their mobile phones, stop now. The only one you ever need really is Snapseed. It's by Google. It's available for the Android and the iPhone. That's what the symbol is. It's a leaf and a thing. And it's a very, very good image manipulation tool. If you've got a cheaper, and because no phones are cheap anymore, cheaper Android smartphone, and you want your camera to be better, you can download what's called Open Camera by someone called Mark Harmon, and that will unlock a load of tools for your camera to make it better. If you've got anything like a high-end Samsung or Google Pixel, or generally an iPhone will have good cameras, you don't need that. But cheaper Android phones, it can sometimes help if you download that. So yeah, so that helps when understanding framing. So here's an example. If you're going to film a customer for what's it called? Film a customer to do a testimonial, or if you're going to introduce something or talk about a product. This is known as the looking off the edge of the camera positioning. So as you notice, he's positioned on the left-hand side. And the reason he's positioned there is people are more likely to see him straight away, because I want people to look at him. There's left enough space so you can put in any title text or graphics if you want to. And then his eyesight is looking slightly off, and that's just the way people like it to look. And then if you're doing something for yourself where you're looking at your camera to present something, so talking to your phone, you want to position yourself slightly off to the side like this as well, and that gives you space to put in some text and some title graphics. Anything, and so like I was saying before with the rule of thirds, you generally want to keep yourself off to the same side, even if it's talking to the camera or looking off the camera, and you'll find that more people might engage with your video straight away. So technical bits, what can help you? So I'll stop sharing the screen again for a second. What can help you with your filming? So generally what we tend to advise as a minimum is get yourself a tripod. You can spend as little or as much as you want on a tripod. These ones are relatively cheap at about $4.99. They're quite good and sturdy. But what I say is, especially if you've got some of the latest phones that cost over £1,000, if you're penny pinching on your tripod and prepared to put £1,000 worth of kit on top of it, more for you. You know, you'd obviously get something that you're happy to risk the £1,000 device on. And then there's the mobile phone clamp. Generally, you can buy these kits, these as kits now, where they'll give you a clamp, which is just a simple thing, a bit like you put a sat nav in that holds the phone in place, a tripod, and then a little light. The lights are useful because if I shine it on myself now, I can get it to work again. There we go. You can see it's lighting my face up quite a lot because I've turned all the settings on. You can see it does make a difference to your phone. Yeah, they're a good thing. And then if you want to take it a step further, you can buy little lapel microphones that you can plug into your phones, but you will need to remember to have the adapter. So that's an iPhone and an Android one, because most phones have done away with their audio jack. And then another one to improve, a nice little trick to improve sound. A lot of phones do come with, wire gremlins have got in a second. A lot of phones do come with hands-free, well, what the original hands-free kit that weren't very hands-free at all, but they called them hands-free kit all the same. If you look on your hands-free kit, you'll see the microphone is in one of the earpieces. If you put that earpiece in your ear so that the microphone is close to your mouth, conveniently, the length of the cable that they give you is enough to go down your jumper and plug into your phone that you're holding in your hand like that, and then you'll be using this microphone. So if you're at an event, that cuts out a lot of background noise and makes the audio sound a lot better on your phone. So that's a good cheapy tip, but not all phones come with those anymore, which is a bit irritating. But if you've got one, so that's another cheeky way to improve your video footage. So if everyone can look at their phones a second, this is another tip which is easier to do when we're face to face, but we'll have a go at doing it. I'm just going to show you Android first, and then we'll go to iPhone. Give me 2 seconds to just switch what we're going to see. Oh, it's not letting me turn my presentation on. Come on, you. There we go. So I'll turn that on. Okay. Right, should be able to see my phone pointing at the screen. There we go. So if you press and hold on the screen of your phone, you should see something that then appears saying exposure and focus are locked. So that is important to ensure that your phone isn't automatically. I just stopped sharing screen a second, and now I'll do it with iPhone just to show the same. Whoops. Here we go, iPhone. Get the camera up, get the video on, and then if I press and hold on the screen, again you can see it now says AEAF lock. Oops, there we go. So if everyone can have a go at trying to do that with their phones, the importance of that is if I show you on my screen now, if you watch, I'm looking at the window there. Now I'm looking at the computer screen. You can see sort of the aperture, that's what it's known as, is automatically adjusting. If I press and hold like this, now it's not, it's locked. Now that doesn't sound like that big of a deal, but when you're videoing with your phone always wants to be set on fully automatic. And what it will try to do is everything it will look at, and it will take the average of everything it's looking at. So sometimes you can look really, really dark, but you're the person that obviously you want to video if you're videoing yourself. So you need to touch the screen to say, this is the bit I want you to focus on. It will help with photos, it will help with video. A lot of people don't realize if you press and hold that little feature is hidden there. It's a really good one. So if you try that one, that'll be a good way of immediately improving your footage. Oh, there's another person waiting to come in. There we go. Right, 2 seconds and just get back to this. When thinking of using audio, another good trick, we'll do this, sorry to scare everybody. So I'm going to break my own rule and use the selfie camera just to demonstrate this. So get your phone into selfie mode and then bring the phone as close as possible to your face and just see how close you can get it before your face starts disappearing off the screen. So if now I press and hold on myself about there, and you'll realize that the phone itself, I'll switch back to the other camera now, you'll realize that the phone itself is actually really quite close to you. Now, the importance of doing that is audio. The further away you have your phone from yourself, the further the distance the audio has to travel from your phone, from your mouth to the phone, or from your subject to your phone. And your phone is, excuse me, going to do the same as it does with video. It's going to take an average of everything it can hear and try and turn it into an audio feed. So if you're in an event, it's the worst thing ever because you just hear a load of background in. So I went to a hospital in Bournemouth to do training of the nurses there to make recruitment videos. And the first thing they did is show me the type of videos that they made in previously. And they were saying, well, we don't understand why they're so bad. And we went to the place where they were filming them, and it was a sofa, and they had 2 people in the video, and the person who was filming them was quite a way back. And behind the person who was standing filming these nurses sat on a sofa was the queue for the canteen. So they were closer to the people talking in the queue waiting for their dinner than they were from the people they were supposed to be filming. So most of the footage was about discussions over what's going to be for dinner. So you can imagine they were pretty useless videos. So it's that kind of thing. So you want to sort of invade the personal space of the person you're filming, and get as close to them as you can. Unless you've got an external microphone, then you can use the external microphone. It's called a lapel mic, Julie. You can Google, if you go onto Amazon and type lapel, mobile phone lapel mic, they'll probably come up. Yeah, so that's thinking about audio. The next thing to consider is backlighting. So I'll try and demonstrate that now. Again, sorry for scaring anyone for switching to the camera selfie mode. Right, so if we go to video. So at the moment, let's try and, hold on, I need to untether myself. Just put it on charge, there we go. So at the moment, I'm backlit, and if I am sharing, good. If I press and hold on my face, you can see behind me, it's all a bit whited out, and it all doesn't look very good. And that expression is backlit, the light is coming from behind me. That's a big no-no in video. You want to do it the other way around, because now the light is all going on my face and it immediately makes your footage look a million times better. So when we say backlighting, you want to try and avoid that at all cost. It's quite a common thing in Zoom for people to have a window behind them when you're at a Zoom meeting and you can't see them, and it's because they backlit themselves, so try not to do it. Another way of backlighting is you have the sun behind you, and the sun overpowers everything. You don't want the sun in front of you either, because it makes you all squinty when you're trying to video yourself, so you want to try and put the sun off to the side. And I know that's a perfect world, you're not necessarily going to be able to move the sun, but if you can turn or anything, you know, it can be a big help. And then another thing is parents with kids, you might have selfie sticks. So if you don't have anything at all, grab your kid's selfie stick and a bit of sellotape and tape your phone to something. A tree works, chair, and then you've got yourself a tripod and your phone's mounted on a tripod, and that's a really cheap and cheerful way of making your footage better. Another good one is for Android users, and this is one of the hidden features. If you've got Android 10 or higher, no, not Android 10, Android 7, I think Android, doesn't matter, the newer versions of Android, a lot of phones have their own gallery that stores photos, videos, and images, but Google has its own, which is just called Photos. Your phone generally should have it installed. If you don't, you can get it off the App Store. It's just Google Photos. If you use Google Photos on your videos, I'm just getting mine up a minute, just try and find it. Why are you being silly? Give me 2 seconds. There it is. That one. Okay, let's get that one up. Pause. There we go. Now I'll just share that. 2 seconds. Oop, there we go. So if you have Google Photos up, down the bottom where these squiggly lines are, if you tap that, you then have this one here, which is stabilize, and you tap that and you'll see now it says stabilizing. So if you've got a slightly shaky piece of footage, you can use that built into Google Photos, and it can be a get out of jail free card on some wonky footage. It's not foolproof, and it doesn't always work, but you can give that a go. and that's another top tip for doing it. So the next, let me just turn this off again. Sorry, there we go. Right. So there we go. So yeah, so that's another top tip for Android users. Unfortunately, iPhone users, you don't have that. Another useful piece of information to know about is open source software. Open source software is freely available software that you can use as an external tool to improve what you've got from your phone. So take your stuff off your phone onto your computer. You can then use something called GIMP. Careful when you Google that. It's called Graphic Image Manipulation Protocol or something like that, GIMP, and it's a Photoshop clone. There's HitFilm Express free, which is a very good video editing program. There's Blender, which is a 3D animation tool, and a few others like Character, Audacity, Handbrake, their audio manipulation, media manipulation. All of these tools are free and easily to find and can help you. Without going on for too much longer, have we got any questions that I can immediately answer?
So I've got a couple from earlier, Keith. Lindsay asked, when changing a green screen background, does it have to be a green material, or do the most recent video editors identify the background and can change it? It may have been answered in the comments, but it'd be great to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, no problem. Let me just have another look at that question. Just find it. Because you broke up a little bit.
318.
318.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, there we go. When changing the green screen background, does it have to be green material, or do the most recent video editors identify the background and can change it? Well, it's called a chroma screen, and it can be blue, green, or even orange, I think, is the really ones. Yeah, generally blue or green. You can get these grey ones, that have a sort of shimmer to them. They work quite well. The more important thing about the material that you're using as a background, a chroma background, is the clothes that you're wearing. So if you've got a blue one, don't wear blue. If you've got a green one, don't wear green. If you've got a grey one, don't wear grey. Because you'll disappear like the background disappears. And the important thing when using chroma or backgrounds is the quality of the footage you're putting there. So if you're going to use a phone to do this, then you need to make sure you give your phone as much help as possible. So you need to make sure there's as much light as you can get in the room as possible. The phone is on a tripod, as close as it can be. And yeah, and it is possible. There are a lot of people that do it. YouTube influencers mess about with green screen all the time. And there are tools that you can use like Zoom. Hold on, I can do a demonstration on Zoom. I'm sure everyone's seen it anyway. Where you can, but it's where you have a virtual background and you haven't got a green screen, but your background suddenly, but then you'll realize that the person without a green screen doing a virtual background looks a bit sketchy, as I call it. So it's not the best way of doing things, but you can. Next question.
So this was from 331 from Andy Hadley. Is the rule culturally based? And I think he's referring to the grid with the use
rule
of
of thirds. No, I haven't read the research into that much detail, so no, I'm not entirely sure if it's culturally based or not. I tell you, you could do a rule of three pupil dilation research and read the PhD report that someone's made. You could probably find out if it is, but I'm not 100% certain. Sorry.
Okay.
What's the next?
Next one's at 345 from Lindsay. Do you have advice as to where you can put a ring light to highlight the subject, but it doesn't appear in the video, e.g. in iris glasses reflection?
Well, the ring lights, they usually go on the end of lenses and point straight at the subject. And yes, you always get that iris glow. And tends to happen in the professional world is you correct the iris glow, and it's not difficult to correct the pupils and put in blue, green, red, brown, whatever color you want their eyes to be. In the non-professional world, using them makes you look very pretty, but then you have a science fiction eyeball effect going on. It's just one of them, that the origins of the ring light is professional photography, and then they edit the image afterwards to remove the ring light. So there isn't really much you can do about that. You can move it off to one side, but then you're really highlighting one side of the face instead of both sides of the face. I mean, some people think it looks pretty cool. To be honest, I wouldn't worry too much about it. It's more important that you're nicely lit and you look great. The other way is move the ring light further away, but then if you're moving the ring light further away, it'll be less effective, because obviously the light's got further to travel. So it's find that balancing point of what you're happy with. The further away it is, the smaller the ring will look in the pupils. What was the microphone? Oh, I said that, lapel mic.
So the last one, I think, is from Julie Campbell. Can you repeat the list of useful free apps, please?
Snapseed by Google. Oh, I forgot to say the editing ones on your phones. Yes, good, well made. Snapseed by Google for photography. That one's on Apple and Android. The symbol is a little leaf. It's done by Google, so you'll know, say, Google Apps. Then if you've got a more not as higher end Android phone, Open Camera. Mark Harmon's the developer of that. It's both of those are completely free. If you come to them and they try making you pay for them, don't buy them. You've gone to the wrong ones. And then when it comes to video editing, just use iMovie on your phone. So all the deleted iMovie, thinking they'd never use it, reinstall it. iMovie is especially if you've got a Mac, it's a very, very versatile video editing program on your phone, and iMovie has the bonus that you can send it to your iMovie on your Mac computer and pick up you've started editing on your phone and take it a bit further. Just use iMovie, and then on Android I've played with loads, and there are ones that you can buy that are better, yes, but I'm doing this as cheaply as possible, and the one that I've found is the most stable, reliable, and produces the best results, and that's the important thing, is called UCut, and the symbol is whoops, come here, the pair of scissors, like that. So it's called UCut, and the symbol is a pair of scissors, and it's a very good little editing program. Come back to me. Actually, I forgot to, didn't realize I was sharing, sorry. So there we go. Pair of scissors like that. That's UCut for Android. Very, very good video editing program. I saw someone saying DaVinci Resolve is also free. Yes, it is, but in terms of transferable skills, generally, unless you're working in television, commercial and above, Premiere Pro is the most used professional video editing tool, and HitFilm is a carbon copy of it. So much so, I do not know how they got away with it, but that doesn't matter. So if you get HitFilm Express free and you learn to use it, you've got transferable skills to eventually go onto Premiere Pro, whereas DaVinci uses something different, nodals and stuff. It's very good, but it's different, and it's its own entity. Okay, so yeah, so if there's no more questions, thank you very much for listening in. I hope you enjoyed it and found something useful. And I also deliver full days training, so anyone interested in that, you can contact me.
That's brilliant, Keith. Thank you so much for a really comprehensive session. It looks like everyone's sending you the love already, but if you could say a thank you to Keith, that would be much appreciated. Just to let you know, we will be posting the video of the session online, so if there are things that you missed, do come back and visit. We'll put the details out on that when they're ready. But just remains for me to thank Keith again, and thank you all for attending. Do enjoy the rest of the festival.
Thank you very much, everybody.